so hard.
Would you give me 1 minute? Well, I'm gonna have to just stop.
Introducing Lindy Jones, a 19-year-old currently facing murder charges in South Carolina for the August 2019 incident where he took the life of 18-year-old Willie Antoine Fields. After thorough investigations, Lindy Jones and his younger brother Jalen Jones were apprehended and now find themselves in court. Angela Fields, the grieving mother of the victim, prepares to address Lindy with her heartfelt words.
I just want to let you know what they took from me. They took away my only child. It's so hard.
Her husband, Willie Clayfields, tried his best to console her during this difficult time. However, the pain became unbearable for him, and he reached his breaking point.
It's so hard.
Sir, back off, back off, sir. Back off. Back off. Back off, sir. Back off.
After some time, the officers successfully intervened and separated him from Lindy, resolving the situation. In a similar courtroom incident, Lindy received a 35-year prison sentence, while his younger brother Jayan was sentenced to 6 years in juvenile prison. However, this is not the only case where emotions ran high. Diamond Alvarez's mother found herself in court, seeking justice for her 16-year-old daughter who was tragically shot 22 times by 19-year-old Frank Dylan Jr. on January 11, 2023. Investigations revealed their prior relationship and an impending breakup. Despite expectations of remorse, Frank's shocking behavior during the court proceedings, including smirking at Diamond's mother as she gave her statement, led to an enraged confrontation. However, just as she was about to reach the smirking murderer, the situation took a sudden turn. Diamond's uncle, unable to contain his emotions, intervened from the gallery and launched an attack on Frank. In a dramatic twist, Frank's mother swiftly came to his defense, initiating an altercation with Diamond's mother. Consequently, Diamond's aunt immediately intervened to confront Frank's mother. After a chaotic brawl, the police managed to intervene and separate the two families. In the aftermath, Diamond's mother shared her account of the incident with the media.
It was wrong of me. That was wrong of us because we're not monsters. But it's so much hate because I want my daughter back. And what he did it was horrible. Seeing my daughter there and looking at him that he did that and he's laughing in my face. It was very wrong and I'm so sorry for that.
Ultimately, Frank chose to accept a plea deal and received a 45-year prison sentence. Fortunately, deputies were present to prevent complete chaos from unfolding. However, a similar situation occurred in the case of 25-year-old Tristan Laro, who is currently facing first-degree murder charges in Utah for the shooting death of his 19-year-old wife, Misty Lamro, back in August 2009. Tristan was apprehended and now finds himself in court. During the proceedings, Misty's brother, Jason Wilson, approached the podium to deliver a victim impact statement. Before doing so, he gave Tristan a piercing glare, reflecting his deep anger and resentment. Despite the gravity of Tristan's crimes, his astonishing behavior in the courtroom will leave you astounded. While Jason addressed the judge, Tristan appeared nonchalant, rocking back and forth in his chair. After a few minutes, Jason turned his attention to his sister's killer, only to be further infuriated by Tristan's lack of remorse. Determined to make his feelings known, Jason confronted him directly. Fortunately, the deputies promptly intervened to prevent significant harm and restore order after the chaotic incident. Eventually, Tristan received a sentence of 15 years to life in prison for his actions. However, Jason Wilson's response was not an isolated incident. Similar courtroom actions occurred in the case of Michael Madison, a serial killer facing multiple charges, including 3 counts of murder in Ohio between 2012 and 2013. Prior to his preliminary hearing, Michael came face to face with the gravity of his crimes.
Mr. Madison, I'm going to read to you the nature of the charges against you and summarize each one for you, as well as giving you the potential penalties. I know you've had a chance to speak with counsel. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
In the first charge, you're charged with aggravated murder in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2903.01. It states that on or about the 22nd day of July, you did purposely cause the death of an unidentified female while committing another felony. The offense was committed 1 week to 9 months prior to the finding of the body. That is a Jane Doe murder. The second murder is the same date, on or about the 22nd day of July. Michael Madison did purposely cause the death of an Angela Deskins while committing another felony. The offense was committed 3 weeks or few weeks prior to the finding of the body. And then there's a third murder charge. On or about the 22nd day of July, Michael Madison did purposely cause the death of an unidentified female while committing another felony. The offense was committed 1 week to 1 month prior to the finding of the body. All of those are felonies of the first degree because they are aggravated murder. They are punishable by a possible death or life in prison and a $100,000 fine. You understand that?
Yes.
In the courtroom, Van Terry, the father of one of the victims, steps forward to address the judge with his statement.
How you doing, Your Honor? My name is Van Terry. Right now, I guess we're supposed to, in our hearts, forgive this.
Van Terry, filled with anguish and anger, directs his words towards Michael, the perpetrator of the crime.
Taking my child.
However, the courtroom witnessed a truly shocking turn of events when Michael unleashed his madness by smirking at Van Terry, resulting in chaos and turmoil. After the police managed to regain control and restore order, the courtroom proceedings resumed. Now it is time for the jury to deliver their verdict, bringing the trial one step closer to its conclusion.
We therefore unanimously find that the sentence of death should be imposed upon the defendant, Michael Madison.
Following the jury's recommendation, Judge Nancy McDonald proceeds to deliver her final sentence, marking the culmination of the trial.
I am struck by the sheer inhumanity of what one human being can do to not one, but 3 human beings. It is incomprehensible. You cajoled, lured, and deceived Shatisha Shealy, Angela Deskins, and Sherelda Terry to your apartment for your depraved purposes. You went on to abuse the corpses of these 3 victims. You stripped them from the waist down. You folded them in half, binding them so that their feet were up by their ears. You wrapped them in multiple layers of trash bags, and you discarded them. Upon consideration of the relevant evidence, the testimony exhibits admitted in mitigation, it is the judgment of this court that the aggravated circumstances of course of conduct, felony murder, kidnapping, felony murder, of which the defendant was convicted, outweigh the mitigating factors by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Accordingly, the sentence of death is imposed upon the defendant, Michael Madison, on counts 1, 4, and 7.
After the sentencing, the families of the victims openly expressed their emotions regarding the outcome. Michael Madison remains incarcerated, awaiting his sentence of death. However, similar incidents of parents losing their composure due to the demeanor of the killers in court have occurred, such as during the trial of 18-year-old Ton Gendon, who is facing multiple murder charges.
Oh my God, he shot so many people in there.
On May 14, 2022, Piton, a white supremacist, committed a tragic act of violence at a predominantly black Tops-friendly market store in New York. Regrettably, 10 black individuals lost their lives, and 3 others were injured before he was apprehended. In court, family members of the victim seized the opportunity to express their sentiments towards him, making their feelings known.
While I was writing this, tears fell from my eyes. Thinking about what a beautiful person you took.
My daughter, Robbie Drury, was a young woman. She was not married. She had no children. She never will. Robbie was our youngest daughter. When people ask, how many children do you have? I don't know what to say.
You destroyed our lives forever. It's not a day that goes by that I won't remember May 14th and being 2 minutes sooner. I could have been in that store. And all I think about is, could I have saved my aunt? Could I have helped her get away from the bullets? Or could my mom be suffering more and lose her daughter, her granddaughter, and her sister?
Among the heartfelt statements delivered in court, Barbara Massey's words stood out as particularly moving.
My name is Barbara Massey. I'm Catherine Massey's sister. You killed my sister. Cat was an aunt. She was a great aunt. She was a cousin. She was a friend. Cat said she was a committee of one. There's nothing Cat wouldn't do for people. I want personally to choke you and leave my fingerprints on your neck because it was unnecessary. You leave 200 miles to come to Buffalo. You don't even know any black people. I want to choke. You better snake those places. You better say, cops, thank y'all for protecting me because I will hurt you so bad. You have made me sick. You got my family crying. I miss my sister every day. You don't like black people. Man, you don't know a damn thing about black people. We're human. We like our kids to go to good schools. We love our kids.
However, while Barbara Massey was delivering her statement, a person claiming to be a family member interrupted to express their feelings towards Piton.
We never go in those neighborhoods and take people out. Don't do it.
Fortunately, the police were able to intervene and restore calm amidst the interruption. Now, it is Peyton's turn to address the court and share their perspective.
I'm very sorry for all the pain I forced the victims and their families to suffer through. I'm very sorry for stealing the lives of your loved ones. I cannot express how much I regret all the decisions I made leading up to my actions on May 14th. I did a terrible thing that day. I shot and killed people because they were black. Looking back now, I can't believe I actually did it. I believed what I read online and acted out of hate. I know I can't take it back, but I wish I could. And I don't want anyone to be inspired by me and what I did.
You don't be that shit! Out of here! You don't be that shit!
Eventually, the judge proceeds to read out her final sentence, bringing the trial to a close.
The damage you have caused is too great, and the people you have hurt are too valuable to this community. You will never see the light of day as a free man ever again. It is the judgment of this court for your conviction under the first count of the indictment, a domestic act of terrorism motivated by hate in the first degree, an A1 felony, that you be sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
Piton received a life sentence without the possibility of parole for his crimes. However, this was not the only instance where a parent confronted the perpetrator in court. Consider the case of Larry Nassar, who faced numerous charges of sexual abuse. Larry, a former sports doctor at Michigan State University and USA Gymnastics, presented a different narrative during the investigation.
I don't get it. Why didn't she say something if she was feeling violated in any way, shape, and form? There was no communication.
Okay. Do you ever get aroused during these exams?
I shouldn't be getting during an exam.
Right. Well, this is why I'm talking to you about this,
Yeah.
because this young girl and her mother both observed this on more than one occasion during treatment.
If there was arousal, it's. I mean, like it would be because of whatever. I don't know, but I'm not trying to.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
When you're a guy, sometimes you get.
As the truth caught up with Larry Nassar, he was arrested and brought to court. In the courtroom, his victims bravely stepped forward to share their accounts and confront him directly.
I testified to let the world know that you are a repulsive liar.
One after the other.
I am Jessica Tomashow, also known as Victim A. I was sexually assaulted by Larry Nassar when I was 9 and 12 years old. You broke and shattered a lot of girls. You manipulated us to trust you because you're a doctor, and doctors do no wrong, only heal. You are not a healer.
Now it's time for the parents to address Larry.
I don't know who you are now. Maybe I never knew. Maybe none of us did. But Larry, you did this to yourself, and you did this to us.
Inmate Nassar. That is what your name is. And don't you forget that.
And while we all are moving mountains, you, Larry, will have no choice but to sit in prison and wait to die.
And I said, "You ready to go to lunch?" And she's like, "No, Mom, I just want to go home." And I said, "What's wrong? Are you in pain?" And she said, "Mom, I just want to go home." And I said, "Okay." So we got in the car and and she started bawling. And I said, "Chelsea, tell me what's wrong." And she said, "Mom, he put his and they weren't gloved." And I said, "Chelsea, I was right there in the room." And she goes, "You couldn't see what was going on, Mom." And she said, "He hurt me." In 2009, she took her own life because she couldn't deal with the pain anymore. It'll be 10 years in March.
For this particular parent, Larry's tears hold no value. Words were not enough.
I would ask you to, as part of this sentencing, to grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon. Would you do that? Yes or no? No, sir. Would you give me 1 minute?
You know that I can't do that. That's not how I do this.
Well, I'm going to have to get someone.
Stay down. Stay down. I understand.
Let me have that son of a bitch.
I understand, but stay down.
I want that.
Stop fighting. Behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
I want that son of a bitch.
Put your hands behind your back. I don't.
Give me 1 minute with that pastor.
Go ahead. You're good.
Eventually, Larry takes to the stand.
Pales in comparison to the pain, trauma, and emotional destruction that all of you have dealing with. There are no words that can describe the depth and breadth of how sorry I am for what has occurred. An acceptable apology.
In the end, the judge gives her sentence.
I find that you don't get it, that you're a danger. You remain a danger. I am a judge who believes in life and rehabilitation when rehabilitation is possible. I have many defendants come back here and show me the great things they've done in their lives after probation, after parole. I don't find that's possible with you. Your decision to assault was precise, calculated, manipulative, devious, despicable. I don't have to add words because your survivors have said all of that. I don't want to repeat it. Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months. I just signed your death warrant. I need everyone to be quiet. I still have contempt powers. I told you I'm not nice. Thank you. That's all for the record.
Larry received a life sentence, ensuring he would spend the rest of his life in prison. While one might dismiss certain reactions as uncontrollable anger, the same cannot be said for the case of Quinn Bowes. Quinn, a 23-year-old facing murder charges for the death of his 11-month-old son, appeared in court and was ultimately found guilty. He received a 25-year prison sentence. However, as Quinn was being escorted away, an unexpected incident occurred. Jeremiah Matthew Lay, the child's uncle, punched Quinn before being restrained by the police. Jeremiah was ultimately sentenced to 179 days in jail for his actions. While it was evident that Jeremiah strongly disapproved of Quinn's actions, his response to the sentence mirrored that of Vashon Flowers. Vashon faced murder charges after a dispute over smoking led him to fatally shoot his wife, Jamie Thomas Flowers. In court, the victim's daughter stepped forward to provide an account of what transpired.
He was irritable and said that he was a grown man. If he wanted to buy cigarettes, he would buy cigarettes. He got down on the ground and started choking my mother. Actually, I heard, "You don't have to do this, Vashon. Please don't do this. You don't have to do this." And then I heard gunshots.
However, during the sentencing, London Thomas, the son of the victim, was unable to contain his emotions and reacted strongly. Vashon ultimately received a life sentence, bringing his trial to a close. However, the intense emotions displayed in court, particularly through the actions of London Thomas and Kevin Hall, leave us pondering the boundaries of sanity. Present in court is 15-year-old James Douglas Gonzalez, facing charges for the killing of Edward Hall. The jury has rendered a verdict of guilty for negligent homicide instead of murder. Amidst the proceedings, Kevin Hall, the younger brother of the victim, responds with anger and frustration. Eventually, the police were able to restore order. James emerged unharmed from the incident, while Kevin received a 5-day jail sentence for his actions. Just when it seemed like the courtroom displays couldn't get any wilder, another convict, Dwayne Smith, surpasses Kevin Hall's behavior. Dwayne is present in court for the sentencing of Clifford Thomas and his girlfriend, who were arrested for the murder of 3-year-old Jamela, Dwayne's daughter. As Dwayne approaches the stand to deliver his victim impact statement, he decides to make a different kind of impact altogether. As the courtroom scene unfolds, the girlfriend of Clifford Thomas and the mother of the deceased child breaks down in tears. The police intervene to separate the two men involved, leading to a rescheduling of the session. Eventually, Clifford and his girlfriend receive sentences of up to 15 years in prison. Dwayne Smith's behavior serves as a striking example of a victim acting erratically in court. However, could Dale Williams's case be considered even more extraordinary? Dale, who is facing murder charges, caused his ex-girlfriend Elizabeth Pledger Stewart to crash her vehicle in June 2017. He then proceeded to fatally shoot her multiple times in the presence of onlookers. Now, as the victim's daughter prepares to deliver her statement in court, the victim's sons have a different plan in mind. The police had to use their tasers to bring order to the court. The session was rescheduled this time. The victim's aunt was able to say her mind.
When we saw him, his faith, we felt it was so much emotion due to a flashback of how he just killed my niece.
Dale received a sentence of 15 years to life in prison for his actions. However, the story doesn't end there. The two brothers also made their appearance in court, adding another layer to the proceedings. Dale is currently serving his sentence behind bars.